One day, a well-known merchant named Ekah came to Mundemba village. He traveled from village to village, selling fine cloth and beautiful garments. Ekah was friendly and charming, and many people liked him. When he saw Atangana at the market, he was struck by her beauty and grace. "Who is this lovely girl?" he wondered. Ekah approached Atangana with a big smile. "Hello, I'm Ekah. I travel around selling beautiful cloth. You must be Atangana, the girl everyone talks about," he said. Atangana smiled back and replied, "Yes, that's me. It's nice to meet you, Ekah." Ekah was captivated by her gentle voice and kind eyes. He started visiting the market more often, always stopping by Atangana's stall. They talked and laughed, and Ekah found himself falling in love with her. He thought Atangana was not only beautiful, but also sweet and kind. After some time, Ekah decided he wanted to marry Atangana. He was excited and told her, "Atangana, I like you very much. Will you marry me and come live with my family?" Atangana, who had been cautious about love because of her past experiences and the curse, felt a spark of hope. She agreed to meet Ekah's family. Ekah was happy and took her to his village to introduce her to his parents. When they arrived, Ekah's mother looked at Atangana with a frown. She had heard whispers about Atangana's mysterious past and the strange events around her. "This girl, she is beautiful, but there's something off about her," she thought. After talking with Atangana for a while, Ekah's mother shook her head. "I'm sorry, Ekah, but I don't trust this girl. There's a curse around her. She is not suitable for our family," she said firmly. Ekah was shocked and saddened. He liked Atangana very much, but he respected his parents' wishes. He looked at Atangana with a heavy heart and said, "Atangana, I'm sorry. My mother doesn't approve of our marriage. I must listen to my family." Atangana felt her heart break. She had hoped Ekah would see past the curse, but she understood his choice. With tears in her eyes, she nodded and quietly left Ekah's home. She returned to Mundemba village, feeling the weight of the curse once more. Though her heart was heavy, Atangana continued to live in Mundemba, still hoping that one day she would find someone who could love her despite the curse. She stayed strong and continued her daily life, always kind and gentle, even when her heart was hurting. After the heartbreak with Ekah, Atangana felt the weight of the curse more than ever. She was sad and tired of being pushed away because of it. Desperate for a solution, Atangana decided to return to Ndeme's shrine. She hoped that the powerful spirit could help her find peace and lift the curse that haunted her. Atangana walked to the shrine and knelt before Ndeme's altar once more. With a heavy heart, she pleaded, "Great Ndeme, the curse placed upon me is causing so much pain. Please help me lift it so I can find happiness and be free from this burden." Ndeme appeared in a soft, glowing light. The spirit listened to Atangana's plea and saw the sincerity in her eyes. "Atangana, you have endured much because of this curse," Ndeme said gently. "I can lift the curse from you, but there is a condition. You must remain calm and never let anger take over your heart. If you get angry, the curse will return, and it will be even stronger." Atangana nodded eagerly, her eyes full of hope. "I promise, Ndeme. I will stay calm and keep my heart pure. Please lift the curse," she vowed. With a wave of Ndeme's hand, a warm, gentle breeze surrounded Atangana. She felt a weight lift off her shoulders, and the curse was gone. Atangana felt a new sense of freedom and hope. She thanked Ndeme with all her heart and returned to Mundemba village, determined to live a good life. Back in the village, Atangana continued her daily routine. She sold her goods at the market and greeted everyone with her usual kindness. The villagers admired her beauty and calm demeanor. They didn't know about the curse or the struggle she had faced, but they could see the gentle and serene person she was. Atangana felt lighter, knowing the curse was gone. She remained mindful of her promise to Ndeme, keeping her emotions in check and staying calm in every situation. She hoped that one day she would find someone who could love her for who she was, free from the shadows of her past. And so, Atangana continued to live in Mundemba village, admired and respected by many, always holding on to hope for a brighter future. One warm afternoon, Atangana went to the village stream to fetch water. As she sat on a rock, thinking about her life and the challenges she had faced, she felt a deep sadness. She missed having someone to share her life with. As she sat there, a gentle voice called out, "Are you okay?" Atangana looked up and saw a kind-faced man standing by the water. He had a warm smile and gentle eyes. "My name is Tabe," he said, walking closer. "You look sad, and I wanted to make sure you're all right." Atangana felt a warmth from his kindness. "Thank you, Tabe. I'm Atangana," she replied softly. They talked for a while, and Atangana found herself opening up to him. Tabe listened with care and comforted her, making her feel at ease. Over the days that followed, Tabe and Atangana met often at the stream. They would talk and laugh, and Atangana felt a bond growing between them. Tabe was kind and understanding, and he didn't pry into her past. He just enjoyed her company and made her feel valued. One day, Tabe told Atangana, "I care about you, Atangana. You are a wonderful person, and I want to be with you." Atangana was surprised. She felt a mix of emotions, hope, fear, and a bit of happiness. She hesitated, remembering the curse and her past heartbreaks. But Tabe's sincerity touched her heart. Atangana finally said, "I like you too, Tabe, but I have been through a lot. Are you sure you want to be with me?" Tabe nodded with a smile. "I am sure, Atangana. Let's make a life together." And so, they became close. Tabe treated Atangana with respect and care, and she found herself growing fond of him. They spent time together, and their bond deepened. It wasn't long before Tabe proposed to Atangana. He wanted to make her his wife and share a happy life with her. With joy in her heart, Atangana accepted his proposal. They began to plan their wedding, dreaming of a future together filled with love and happiness. For the first time in a long while, Atangana felt a true sense of hope. She believed that with Tabe, she could finally find the peace and love she had been searching for. The village of Mundemba buzzed with excitement for the upcoming wedding, and Atangana felt a warm glow of happiness, hoping this would be the start of a beautiful new chapter in her life. The day of Atangana and Tabe's wedding arrived, and the village of Mundemba was filled with excitement. Everyone gathered in the village square, which was decorated with colorful flowers and bright banners. The villagers danced, sang, and celebrated, happy to see Atangana and Tabe together. The air was filled with joy and laughter as they exchanged vows under the warm sun. Atangana looked radiant in her beautiful dress, and Tabe couldn't stop smiling. They promised to love and cherish each other, surrounded by the cheers and blessings of the villagers. It was a perfect day, and everyone felt the love and happiness in the air. As night fell, the couple retired to their new home, ready to start their life together. But as they prepared to rest, something strange happened. Atangana began to feel uneasy. Her body felt different, and a cold shiver ran down her spine. She looked at Tabe with worry in her eyes. Suddenly, Atangana's body started to change. Her legs began to fuse together, and her skin turned shimmery and scaly. Before they knew it, she transformed into a beautiful mermaid with a long, sparkling tail. Tabe's eyes widened in shock and confusion. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Atangana, now a mermaid, looked at him with sad eyes. "Tabe," she said softly, "this is who I really am. I'm a mermaid from the great river. I wanted to tell you, but I was afraid you wouldn't love me if you knew." Overcome with surprise, Tabe stumbled backward. Atangana, how is this possible?" he stammered, his voice shaking. Atangana, tears in her eyes, began to explain her story. She told Tabe about her life in the river, her family of merpeople, and how she had chosen to live on land. She spoke of the curse that had been placed on her, and how she had struggled to find acceptance and love. As Tabe listened, his initial shock slowly turned to understanding. He saw the pain and fear in Atangana's eyes, and his heart filled with compassion. Despite his confusion, he knew that this was still the same kind and gentle Atangana he had fallen in love with. Taking a deep breath, Tabe stepped closer to Atangana. He knelt beside her and took her hand in his. "Atangana, he said gently. I love you for who you are, not what you are. Your being a mermaid doesn't change my feelings for you. Atangana's eyes lit up with hope. You mean you still want to be with me? She asked, her voice trembling. Tabe nodded, a warm smile spreading across his face. Of course I do. We'll figure this out together, I promise. Just then, they heard a commotion outside. The villagers, having heard Tabe's earlier cry of surprise, had gathered around their home. They were whispering and murmuring, wondering what was happening. Tabe looked at Atangana, concern in his eyes. What should we do? He asked. Atangana took a deep breath. I think it's time I stop hiding, she said bravely. Let's tell them the truth. Together, Tabe and Atangana went to the door. When they opened it, the villagers gasped at the sight of Atangana in her mermaid form. Some backed away in fear, while others stared in awe. The village elder, a wise old man named Fonsha, stepped forward. Atangana, he said, his voice calm but firm. What is the meaning of this? Atangana, with Tabe by her side, told her story to the villagers. She explained about her life in the river, her decision to live among humans, and the challenges she had faced. As she spoke, the villagers listened intently, their fear slowly turning to fascination and then to understanding. When Atangana finished her tale, there was a moment of silence. Then, to everyone's surprise, a young girl from the crowd stepped forward. I think it's amazing, she exclaimed. Atangana is like a princess from a fairy tale. This broke the tension, and soon other villagers began to voice their support. They remembered all the kindness Atangana had shown them over the years, how she had always been there to help anyone in need. They realized that whether she had legs or a tail, Atangana was still the same person they had always known and loved. Elder Fonsha raised his hand for silence. Atangana, he said, you have lived among us for years, always showing kindness and bringing joy to our village. Your true nature does not change the good you have done. You and Tabe are welcome to stay in Mundemba, if that is your wish. Tears of joy streamed down Atangana's face as she heard these words. She looked at Tabe, who was beaming with pride and love. Thank you, she said to the villagers. Mundemba has been my home, and I'm so happy to be accepted for who I am. From that day on, life in Mundemba changed in wonderful ways. Atangana no longer had to hide her true self. She would spend time in the village in her human form, but she also swam in the river, showing the children of Mundemba the wonders of the underwater world. Tabe stood by her side through it all, loving her in both her forms. Together, they built a happy life, bridging the world of land and water. Their love story became a legend in Mundemba, a tale of acceptance, understanding, and the power of true love. The villagers learned valuable lessons about not judging others based on appearances and the importance of accepting people for who they are. Mundemba became known as a place of harmony, where humans and magical creatures could live together in peace. As for Atangana's family in the river, they eventually heard about what had happened. Seeing how happy Atangana was and how the villagers had accepted her, they realized they had been wrong to try to keep her away from the human world. They lifted their curse and began to visit Atangana in Mundemba, forming a bridge between the two worlds. And so, Atangana, the mermaid of Mundemba, lived happily with Tabe and the villagers. She had found the acceptance and love she had always dreamed of, proving that with understanding and an open heart, even the most unlikely of fairy tales can come true. Years passed, and Atangana and Tabe's love only grew stronger. They had 2 children, a boy named Ekah and a girl named Ekah. Ekah was born with legs like his father, while Ekah had a beautiful tail like her mother. The children grew up learning the best of both worlds, the ways of the land from their father and the secrets of the water from their mother. Mundemba flourished under the unique blend of human and merfolk influence. The village became famous for its harmony and the magical air that seemed to surround it. People from far and wide would come to visit, hoping to catch a glimpse of the mermaid who had made her home among humans. Atangana used her knowledge of the river to help the village in many ways. She taught the fishermen the best spots to catch fish without depleting the river's resources. She showed the farmers how to use the river's water more efficiently for their crops. and on hot summer days, she would delight the village children with spectacular water shows, leaping and spinning in the sparkling river. Tabe, always supportive of his wife, became a bridge between the human world and the world of the merfolk. He learned to swim like a fish and could hold his breath for incredibly long times underwater. He often accompanied Atangana on her visits to her family in the depths of the river, strengthening the bonds between the two communities. As Ekah and Ekah grew older, they too played important roles in the village. Ekah became known for his skill in building boats that could navigate both shallow and deep waters with ease. Ekah, with her ability to transform between human and mermaid form like her mother, became a teacher, sharing the wisdom of both land and sea with the village children. But life wasn't always easy. There were times when outsiders would come to Mundemba with fear or greed in their hearts, seeking to exploit the magical nature of the village. But each time, the united front of the villagers, led by Atangana and Tabe, would stand strong, protecting their unique way of life. One day, a great drought hit the region. Villages all around were suffering, their crops withering and their people thirsty. But Mundemba, thanks to Atangana's deep connection with the river, remained green and flourishing. Atangana knew she had to help. She swam far down the river to its very source, where she discovered that a fallen tree had diverted much of the water away from its normal course. With the help of her merfolk family and the strongest swimmers from Mundemba, she managed to move the tree and restore the river's flow. As the water returned to the region, bringing life back to the parched land, the neighboring villages realized that the rumors about Mundemba were true. There was indeed magic there, the magic of kindness, unity, and living in harmony with nature. From that day on, Mundemba was no longer seen as a strange place to be feared or exploited, but as a source of wisdom and an example of how humans and nature could coexist beautifully. People came from far and wide to learn from Atangana, Tabe, and the villagers of Mundemba. As Atangana and Tabe grew older, they watched with pride as their children and grandchildren continued to bridge the gap between land and sea. The story of the mermaid who found her home among humans was passed down through generations, a reminder that love, acceptance, and understanding can overcome any difference. And so, the legend of Atangana, the mermaid of Mundemba, lived on, a tale of a brave young mermaid who dared to follow her heart, a kind man who loved her for who she was, and a village that learned to embrace the magic of diversity. It became a beacon of hope for all those who felt different, a promise that somewhere, somehow, everyone can find a place where they truly belong. As the years turned to decades, Mundemba continued to thrive under the legacy of Atangana and Tabe. Their story inspired countless others to be brave, to be kind, and to always keep an open mind and heart. And though Atangana and Tabe eventually returned to the river, their spirits lived on in the laughter of children splashing in the shallows, in the songs of fishermen casting their nets, and in the love story of every couple who found strength in their differences. For in Mundemba, they knew the truth, that the greatest magic of all is the power of love to transform not just two lives, but an entire world.